So it's time to talk about Mexico a little bit. I'll just start by, there's a video playing on the screen right now that shows you how to get the slides from this meeting on your phone. And so I'm going to go through these slides pretty fast because I don't want to keep you here too long. And so if you're like, hey, I missed something on there, I want to see it or read more about it, then you can get the slides on our website. If you go to our website, there's 2026 Mexico in the main navigation, either on your phone. So there, I see I just clicked on it. Or like on a desktop computer, it'd be on the top bar. You'd see info about our Mexico trip. There's an article we just put up there about safety, about a journalist from Arizona writing about whether or not it's safe to travel to Puerto Penasco. And that's how you can get the slides if you want to pull this up later, because you feel like I'm going through too quick. Here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to just give a description of the trip, and that's really the largest section of the meeting. We're talking about fundraising. We're talking about safety concerning traveling to Mexico, and then I'll open it up for a time of questions if you guys have any questions about the trip. And so here, trip description. One unique thing about this trip that's different than the other times Madison Church has gone down is that we're taking a large group of churches from Iowa. And so there will be several churches going with us, mostly teenagers. And so that's generally how this trip is geared for them. That's usually how I pitched it to them, as essentially a youth group trip. That's how this started at Madison Church, is us taking a youth group trip down in 2018. And so you can see there the churches that are going for sure, and some churches that are probably going, and one in Earlham I'm trying to talk into going. And so I'd anticipate, I think right now with one mission we have a slot reserved for 60 people. And so that's about the size of the crew we want to take down from Iowa, anywhere from 60 to 100. And this trip has kind of two tracks. So there's two different kinds of trips happening at the same time. So there's track one, that's the crew that drives down and goes on the Jeep, okay? And track two would be an option for you to fly down or be responsible for your own travel to the Phoenix airport. And that would be a little more expensive. Airfare is pretty expensive if you've bought plane tickets recently. And so you can see the different dates there. The track two trip is shorter just because it eliminates the days of travel in between Phoenix and Brooklyn. If you go on track two, you will have the option to join us for Sedona and the Grand Canyon on your way back. And that is because the track two people will be renting a van or vans for them in Phoenix. And those vans can be returned when we go back through Phoenix on our way back. So that would be if nobody wants to go to the Grand Canyon with us. Or we can keep those vans and take them up to the Grand Canyon. And then when they wish to return on June 3rd, they could be driven back to the Phoenix airport and return at that time instead. If you drive down, you'll spend 3 nights sleeping on church floors. It's like 3 lock-ins in one trip. Super fun. We spend 2 nights in tents at the Grand Canyon. So if you're track two and you go to the Grand Canyon with us, you gotta sleep in a tent a couple nights. We reserve campsites right on the southern rim of the Grand Canyon. They're really hard to get. I have to get up at about midnight on December 1st to reserve that. Track one is very inexpensive relative to other mission trips. I don't think you'll find another mission trip opportunity like this that is gonna cost less money before fundraising than what we do to go down to Mexico. Just a warning that if you fly, that you will miss out on all the fun of the car ride. And I will talk to you about that in a little bit, about the car ride. So this would be our schedule. This is what the different days would look like on the trip. And you see there's three days travel there and back. There are some yellow events there on the screen. Those represent kind of recreational or fun opportunities. And I'll talk about them each when we get there. This is just generally, you can pull this up later on your phone if you want to see what's happening each day. So three days of travel there and back. There are 3 work days, and there's a day at the Grand Canyon. We spend 2 nights and 1 day there. So this is walking through the trip. Travel day 1, we start out and go to Kearney, Nebraska. And so a large part of day one is coordinating with the rest of the groups and getting together, building our convoy. And we go to Kearney. We sleep at my parents' church there, and they make supper for us, which is why we're going to Kearney. And travel day 2 is a big one. That's 12 hours. We go from Kearney, Nebraska, down to western New Mexico. And that's a big one. Not a whole lot to say about it. But other than, 12 hours in a van is a long time, right? But here's what I want you to know. Driving is fun. Okay. Driving is fun. All the pictures you see in the slideshow today are from actual trips that we took. Most of them are from 2022. But look how much fun those people are having. This is on day 2, so this is in between Kearney and New Mexico. And these guys are just having a really good time together. As you can see, when I went to Mexico as a high schooler, we went in really old, ratty church vans that were not even close to as nice as this. Here you have kind of these captain chair kind of seats, and there are phone chargers and cup holders, and everybody has their own vent. I would have killed for that when I was 16 and going to Mexico with my church. You can see kind of how the van is laid out here. Here Brad's driving, and I'm taking a picture, and so this is just kind of what? Oh, they get meaner. They just wait, Helena. That's what the van looks like. Look how much fun these people are having. And they're driving. This is the next to last day in the trip. They've been in the van for 10 hours. See those smiles? That's how much fun driving is. Driving gives you opportunities to do fun, random, unplanned adventures like this construction stop we had in northern Arizona. And here, this was fun morning. This was in between like Norton, Kansas, and I think we're probably just in eastern Colorado here. And this was a super fun morning. This is when we bought the squeaky chicken. This is about the same time we bought the squeaky chicken. And this is just a blast. I'm smiling because we had just made it past the place where I got stuck in the mud in 2018. And I just want to show this to you. Driving is so much fun. I want to see how. So here's Jake holding all of his possessions for the trip, all right? This is about what you need to pack to go. Jake's got it all. But I want you to see all the accoutrements he has on the left side, okay? We've got a charger for his phone. We've got a cup holder, okay, there with some sort of fountain drink, okay? We've got Scooter's coffee, okay? A personal fan, neck pillow, and a phone. How could you spend 12 hours better than that? That is just a great experience there. We drive through beautiful places. This is just a random spot in the road in eastern New Mexico. And so you drive through beautiful places that you would otherwise be flying over. And look, it's just beautiful. Opportunity for aesthetic photos. Here you see the foothills of the Rocky Mountains and a very beautiful nose. And right, so these are the kind of opportunities you have when you're driving to Mexico if you want to go on track 1 with us, which is a whole lot of fun. This is the other opportunity you have. Look at these 3 people on the screen. What percentage of consciousness do you think they're experiencing at that moment? I promise you it is 0, okay? And that you can get some really good sleep in the van. You'll be very well rested by the time we arrive in Mexico, ready to work. There's some more sleeping people. There's a lot of sleeping on the way. Okay, so driving is fun. Travel day 3 is when we link up with the track 2 people. So we leave western New Mexico, we drive to Phoenix, and we'll grab those. A lot of times the people who go to track 2 will have flown in the day before and stayed in a hotel. It's just kind of the way it works out because we got to get you at noon, and it's sometimes hard to get a flight into Phoenix where you're there far enough before noon that you feel good about it. And then from Phoenix, we drive down to Puerto Penasco. On the way there, just before we cross the border, we stop at a place called Organ Pipe Cactus National Monument. There's a 1-mile trail there and cactuses that are 30 feet tall. It's beautiful. Actually, while you're on the hike there, you can see the border fence a long ways in the distance. And I want to talk to you about the trip into Mexico. So this is the border right here. You see that diagonal line running across the screen. After we cross the border, we have 55 miles to drive in Mexico. The whole trip is on a 4-lane divided highway. It is not heavily trafficked. I'll show you here in a little bit. This road has a special security designation by the Mexican government to ensure that it's a safe place to drive. We go to One Mission Base Camp, which, as you can see here, is just north of the city. Here's Puerto Penasco, where we're going. Puerto Penasco is right on the fingertip of the Gulf of California. It's a beach town. It's a popular tourist destination because it is the closest beach to Phoenix, Arizona. So a lot of Phoenix people will go there to go to the ocean. I'll show you where base camp is. You see, base camp, where we sleep in Mexico, is north of the city. So it's a little bit outside the city. It's not in town. And then we drive into town to build a house each day. The hearts here on the map are places where Madison Church has built a house. So this one was 2018 right here. The one just south of it was 2020. And then 2022, the 2 houses we built were in a neighborhood called the Dunes out here. This is kind of in the desert really outside the city limits of Puerto Penasco, but it's the cheapest land available to these people, and that's often why One Mission houses get built out there. And so those are places where Madison Church has built houses so far. Let's talk about base camp. This is where we stay when we're in Mexico. It's a fenced compound, like a church camp. There are boys and girls bunk houses, so you can sleep on a mattress there in an air-conditioned room. There are hot showers, depending on how early you get in them. There are meals prepared by locals. The food is fantastic. The food is great. There's even a swimming pool, so it is a really comfortable way to live. I'm going to show you some base camp pictures here. This is what you see when you're driving in. This gate is closed and locked at night. This is kind of the dining hall, social area where we eat meals. It's cafeteria-style dining. You go through. This is breakfast we're being served. So you see here we got like tortillas, beans, spicy eggs, regular eggs. And so that's kind of stuff what we're eating. A lot of the people who are serving food are people volunteering or banking volunteer hours so that they can have a house built for their family. One Mission does have full-time staff on site in the kitchen to ensure that certain safety procedures are used, that they use only water safe for gringos like us to drink and things like that. But a lot of these people are logging hours so that they can have a house built for their family. And they're making you food, which means you're getting the real thing. If you want authentic Mexican food, you're going to find it in Puerto Penasco with us. We have devotions at the base camp. This is the bunkhouse. This is the only picture I have of it. But the bunks are stacked 3 high. Okay, we make the young people sleep up top. And I only have a picture of the bunkhouse because I want to take a picture of my big Husker flag. And that might come back with us next summer. And you see, we have some time to play games in the evening. Here we are, set up 9 square at base camp. There's kind of an open yard. Base camp will sometimes hold 600 people at a time for them during their busy build season, which is the spring. And so like March, even like October and March are like the busiest times for them. When they host build groups. We come at the end, even after the end of their build season. So if you go to like One Mission's website and want to book a trip privately, the dates that we're going aren't even on there because they stop taking groups because Puerto Penasco gets pretty hot in the heat of the summer. It's 3 hours south of Phoenix, so go figure. And so we come right on the edge of that. So base camp's usually pretty empty for us. There is a pool there. There's us having fun at the pool in 2018. And there's Helena. I was going to say shorter Helena, about the same height. Much younger Helena there with Carla. And there's even Tiki Hut lounge area. This is us having fun 2022. So let's talk about the work. We're there to build a house for family in need. And if we take 60 people, we'll probably be working on 4 different houses. And so One Mission is a little different than other groups that I've gone to Mexico with, in that in those other groups, you work for 4 days and you build a house start to finish. You pour the foundation, you apply the stucco, you do it all in 4 days. But with those groups, even One Mission, the first time we went there, what you leave the family with is more like a shack than a house. And so One Mission want to do something about that. And so they have groups complete 1/4 of the building project while they're there so that they can build a nice house for the family. And I think that's in the right direction. So you don't have the satisfaction of like showing up to an empty lot and leaving with a house, right? But ultimately, these families get a much better house than they would than they would with those old models. So we'd be separated into about 15-man crews. There's a porta potty on site when we're building. One Mission has a foreman with us at all times that is mostly bilingual. That has been our experience. They say they're bilingual, but maybe so on the English. And so they have a foreman with us at all times. They even escort us from base camp. They will drive us into town and get us there, and they will work with us all day. That's a big factor for safety on the trip. We eat lunch on the site. The family you're building for works with you, and that's one of the really cool experiences about the trip. At Puerto Penasco, I just put up a picture of like, this is a regular house in the neighborhoods that we go to. You see, it's just, it's a lean-to roof. You see this back wall here is made out of a tarp, just some cobbled together plywood. This was a family with a couple kids living next to a house that we were building in 2020. And this is how they live. Another example, very common house situation in Puerto Penasco would be an old beat-up camper. Mexico is where the American campers go to die. And so when nobody will use them anymore here, they get taken down to places like Puerto Penasco, and they become homes, stationary homes, that usually just get boarded up, and that's somebody's house. And so this is a pretty common living situation. In 2018, the family that we built for was living in a camper very much like this. This is a One Mission house when it's done. That's a lot better. And so you can see, I'll show you here in a little bit, but the One Mission house model is a styrofoam block formed concrete house. And so not only does it look pretty sharp here, but also it has a very high insulation factor compared to other building models in like a wood framed house with R11, insulation stapled in between studs. This is much better insulated and will probably be much more durable. Here's our job site when we showed up in 2022. We did phase 1 out of 4 phases. Phase 1 is to build the walls. And so you see, we started here by putting down these, the styrofoam forms were just stacked on the pad when we showed up. So we're putting these forms down over the rebar spikes and building the lower level of the wall. You form it in so that the wall doesn't move when you pour concrete into these styrofoam shafts that hold the concrete. All the concrete is mixed by hand. That's a lot of the work, is mixing concrete in wheelbarrows and then moving the concrete from the wheelbarrows into the shafts in the styrofoam wall. That's a lot of work. In fact, I think I'll show you a picture of Brad here. Brad, how are you feeling at this moment? Yeah, okay, we were having a tough time finishing the work of this day. All of us were beat. I remember Halina was one of the heroes carrying buckets from the wheelbarrow to the scaffold here. And yeah, pouring the top half of the wall, very difficult end to day 2. And so also part of phase 1, you're building the roof trusses for the house. And so that we can see a big crew here driving a lot of nails for a roof truss. When we left at the end of phase 1, that's what it looked like. We had the door framed in, the styrofoam walls are up, and those are all poured. There's concrete poured in all those. And then the roof trusses had been all assembled and stacked inside the house. And that was our contribution to the completion of this house. Again, it's 1/4 of the construction project. And when we were there in 2020, we were there for phase 4, the final phase of the construction project. So that means we were doing a finish coat of stucco to the inside and the outside of the house. And we also sheetrocked the inside of the house. And so there we're putting on a finished coat of stucco on the inside. Here we're finishing up some drywall. You can see, you can see our pretty lousy mud job up there. We need to hit that with some sandpaper pretty hard. We actually hopped in with another job site. We got our work done a little early in 2020, so we went to a job site that was doing phase 3. That's the first coat of stucco on the exterior. Think about making stucco stick to styrofoam. That's what we were doing. It's not very easy. But when we left in 2020, this is what it would look like. And so all that was left at this point is one mission sends by a carpenter to install the doors and the windows, and then they send it through a painter that paints inside and out, and then the family's handed their keys. So phase 4 is the last one. Okay, so that's the work. Let's talk about the fun stuff. There's a lot of fun stuff on this trip. Oregon Pipe Cactus National Monument. I got us lost there in 2022. I'm not going to do that again. But this is what it looks like. We were there at sunset in 2020. It was beautiful. There we are walking through Oregon Pipe Cactus National Monument. We were there in the heat of the day in 2022. We will be again. We'll be there in the heat of the day. Probably about like 4 p.m. This year. The thermometer on my dashboard read 117 when we were there. On the last day we're in Mexico, in the evening, we'll go to the beach. And so this is the fingertip of the Gulf of California, so this is the Pacific Ocean. There are all kinds of huts and vendors there that you can shop from. This is us arriving in 2018. 2022, we went to the other side of the beach, and so that's what it looked like here, just on the other side of the bay there in Puerto Penasco. Really good time. We go there until sunset, and then we drive home, get ready to drive back. After we cross the border back from Mexico in the United States, we go to Phoenix. We'll drop off anybody who wants to be dropped off at that point. Then we go north from Phoenix through Sedona up to the Grand Canyon. And we stop at Sedona at a place called Slide Rock State Park. This is a picture of Slide Rock State Park. It's a big river that flows through a valley and forms a natural water slide. You can just sit down on your butt up here, and it'll push you all the way down there. There are lots of places to jump off cliffs here, 5-foot jumps, 10-foot jumps, and 25-foot jumps, if you feel so brave. That's just some more of us there watching people jump off a 5-foot cliff at Slide Rock. Then we get the Grand Canyon. We camp here, so we make sure to bring enough tents and sleeping equipment that we can get everybody a bed and set up tents. We sleep on the south rim at a place called the Mather Campground, eat some camp food. Then in the morning on Grand Canyon Day, the first thing we do is we go to a place called the South Kaibab Trail. And so this is us just before we start heading down the trail. There I'm pointing out to the boys where the Grand Canyon is in case they couldn't see it. And I hope they got it. And so then we hike down. The South Kaibab Trail would take you all the way down to the Colorado River and back up to the North Rim if you wanted to, but you're not going to. We hike down a little bit. A lot of people will hike 1 mile on this trail. We'll get you to a place called Ooh-Ah Point. Here's some examples of switchbacks you walk in when you walk into the canyon. There's a big elevation change. But this is Ooh-Ah Point, just 1 mile in on the trail down to the Grand Canyon. It's a very fun place to take a picture. And you can keep going on from there. You get to a place called Cedar Ridge down here. And this is Devil's Backbone. So if you kept going, like I said, the trail will take you all the way here to the Colorado River, but you wouldn't walk that far. The furthest we have had anybody go is 3 miles on this trail, and I had a hard time making it back up. And so, yeah, you can take wonderful pictures like this at the Grand Canyon, which is Cody doing the exploring man pose here and down on the Kaibab Trail. The afternoon at the Grand Canyon is free time. So you can go take a nap, that's what you want to do, or there's a rim trail on the south rim that take you to all kinds of like tourist stops and viewing points. So that's what you can do in the afternoon. In the evening, we go to a place called Desert View Watchtower for the sunset. Desert View Watchtower is at the far east end of the Grand Canyon, so that you'll see the sunset over the length of the canyon. You can also see the Colorado River here from Desert View Watchtower. And so like this is a picture of the sunset from Desert View Watchtower. It's the most beautiful I've ever seen. So then after we leave the Grand Canyon, we go to this is Monument Valley in Utah. And so we stop here. This is a place you've probably seen in any Western movie you've ever watched. It's just a pretty place to stop. And those are all the fun things. So let's talk about fundraising. So now we've talked, that's the trip breakdown. That's what happens on the trip. Fundraising. So the total cost without fundraising for this trip is about $850 for track 1. For track 2 would be about $575. And so we try to lower those costs together as a church through fundraising. And so I can't make a guarantee to you about how much we can fundraise, right? That's the variable I don't control. But we've done very well in previous years. In 2022, each participant who went on the Mexico trip, regardless of which track they went on,